Tesla flipped our moving average, came back down, tested support. Hey everybody, hope you had a great trading day. In today's video, we're going to go through 5 stocks to watch on. Subscribe to the channel, click all notifications because what we go over here is extremely timely. So we have a litany to go through today with all the economic data that came out and also to go through what we're seeing here with some of these names. And so I want to dig into the names, and I have a favor to ask for those that have been watching for some time. But I'll get to that in a moment. Now, if you take a look at Tesla today, the gap up, the rally, the pullback, got right to our moving average, right down here, got right to our support level. And this is exactly what happens, right? So you have support, it flips, tests, fails, pushes through, and then you see these tests. And these tests are so important. When you have a resistance and you just stopped, so you know right there you have an issue. Then you flip our moving average, pop over there. So now you have confirmation, right? Once you have confirmation, you have your move, it starts trading up. Stocks always give you a chance to get back in. And this gave us one right here at a potential bounce spot. And then it just had a really good day based upon the Fed minutes, which we're going to address. But I just want to go through a couple things here. You know, if we bounce, and we are due for a bounce, and we've been talking about this for some time in the market, and that doesn't mean that I won't short names. I will. I'll be short knowing that there's a bounce out there because you just don't know when it is. But when you start having things like this, like a doji, bad economic data that actually drives the market higher, the Fed minutes were good, and we're going to talk about why in a moment. But you see this little level right here? When you start clearing things like this, you want to start paying attention. When you can start clearing days in a very short period of time, you want to pay attention. When you have angles like this, you want to start paying attention. So there's a lot going on here, and I would suggest that you take a look at this and just keep this on your radar. Now, to me, it can easily get up to 205, 206. Does that mean it's going back to highs? No, it just means that we are rallying and that it is a trading vehicle. See how you flipped over here, the RSI. I will link that RSI video at the end. If you're not familiar with RSI, I would watch it because these have been working like a charm when they flip. I mean, it's just, it's constant. It's not once. It's very consistent. So keep that in mind. But this is definitely something you should be watching. Now, another name that we had in the trading community today that we were watching really closely was just SMCI. You had a wedge line and then we broke out today and now you flipped. This one's a little tougher because that's really tough to get somebody to say, hey, we need to get involved in this, right? I would like to see some kind of pullback. I'm not sure that's going to happen with what we're seeing in the market. Yeah, I think some people are going to start putting money to work and there's certain names that they want to own. Now, one of the reasons that I'm saying this and one of the reasons you might want to watch this is we saw a lot of follow through today on the winners. So winners are winning. And this is exactly what you want to see. But look at this RSI. And this is why I always say don't just sell RSI because you're over. Now, you're over and you're overbought. But if you were simply selling because, oh, I'm overbought here, right, and you didn't buy this day because you're overbought, well, 71 to 92, right, to 91. So would you lose? $16. Don't think like that. What you want to do is just come up with a game plan, quantify your risk, and move forward. It's a very simple trade, and you can see that level right from there. Never looked back, right? Resistance became what? Support. That was it. Came down, tested, sideways, trades up. Here we go. And now we're off to the races. Keep it on your radar because if you flip this level, you're going to push. And we saw that all day today. You know, a couple of the names we went over in yesterday's video, and these videos usually link together. It's why I tell people that they should subscribe and click all notifications so you don't miss one. Even if you don't have the time, you can just always throw it on double speed because they're timely. You don't want to look at them later. But one of the key things for me in looking at this market was just this follow through. You could just see it. I mean, everything was flipping. And when you see that, you want to be involved. These are the names you want to look at. So watch this Best Buy. If you take a look at this from the 55 and from the 200, and let's click off of this one, pull this back. You can see you're starting to flip. A lot of 200-day moving averages are flipping. I will get into that in a later video, but you really want to pay attention. And when you start seeing the percentages of stocks flipping the 200-day, that is not a short or medium term indicator. That is a long-term indicator, and it is something that I would focus on. Now, you say you test it up here, and you can see how you're testing right here as well. See if you're going to flip and go. I would watch this. Now, if the market rallies, and let me be really clear about this, to me, it's setting up to rally. And people are looking at today and saying, well, how high can it go? I think you're asking the wrong questions. And I think the question is, what is the Fed going to do? And I think they made it very clear today where they stand. And we're going to get into that in a moment. But if that changes, well, you're going to have a lot to deal with. Now, one of the things you're going to have to deal with are names like this. Now, obviously, everybody knows that I think that this name is toast. I've been very vocal about it since we started shorting it back here, about at 100. And I dealt with, writing it down to 15 and then back up, right? So everybody trades differently. I have short-term positions and then I have long-term positions. But when you're rallying back up to here, gave us another opportunity, flips our level, breaks. Why am I showing this? Well, you're up 20% today. I know it doesn't feel that way because of what happened, but it's pertinent to understand this. Not because you need to just buy this one, but start going through the stocks that have the largest short positions right now that people are looking at getting out of. Now, doesn't mean you're not going to roll back over, but you see this level right here? See how you're flipping that? You're going to see more and more of things like that. And when you do, you're going to want to be involved, okay? I can't stress that enough, that you want to look for these little flips, especially on beaten down short positions, because they're the kinds of names that can absolutely rip if we push here. And I do believe we're setting up for a push, and I will address that probably on a separate video on Friday or on Saturday with the top 10. And that's the one thing. Please comment on this, what I'm about to say. I am seriously considering doing a podcast that would be audio only, and then maybe via YouTube where I have slides to go over some of the fundamental and macro stuff. Because what we're doing here, we're really just talking technical, and I'm giving you tidbits. But I literally spend hours a week going through the fundamentals and looking at the macro picture and drilling into it. And I'm trying to find a way to teach that. And so what I'm getting at is, if that's of interest, please comment below. Let me know that it is of interest, and let me know what you would like to see covered. I have some ideas on how to do this, but I'm really interested in your input. I'm thinking a half hour to an hour or something like that. Nothing too crazy, but please let me know. Now, we're seeing these kinds of names break up, but look again at what we're seeing with follow through. Okay, we talked about this, the RSI, right? This showed the peak. So now all we did was work off the RSI. RSI flipped the other day. We posted this yesterday. Look at this, boom. And then it's off. It's off to the races. I don't see how you're not testing 170 on this. Okay, so you might be looking at this. You might even be saying to yourself, "Hey, this is going to be an issue." I don't know that this is going to be an issue up here. Okay, and that's 15 points. Okay, so don't not buy something because you think it might be an issue. Because let's be really blunt about this. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Okay, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know why, we're seeing basic materials being bought. We're going to find out later. I think we got a clue on some of it today, and we're going to address some of that, but there's so much to go over. Okay, if you look at this Apple, now with Apple, this is something we have in the newsletter. A free newsletter comes out tonight as well. If you don't get the free newsletter, there's a link in description. But you can see we're trying to flip. We're trying to flip again. And we're just not able to. And now we're sitting right in this level, and hopefully we can push. But we're gonna have to watch this really, really closely. You are seeing some of the names mentioned yesterday, like John Deere. They had great earnings and just exploded to the upside, which is exactly what you want to see. And we're just seeing buying. If you remember last Saturday's top 10, this was one I talked about. It was up 8% today. So watch that 37.08. I think this has potential on Friday to continue. These beaten down names, you're going to start seeing people hunting for the ones that they really like. Now, what happened today? Well, first and foremost, let's talk about the bond market, because the bond market triggered a long-term sell signal. So this is the yield. We're flipping that moving average, which gives me an indication that we're going to start coming back in. This is a flag. We look like we're breaking the flag. Well, why is that happening? These are notes from the newsletter, and you can see us trending down. People say, don't chart the yield. I chart everything. So what you're going to do here is you're going to just wonder, why is this happening? Why is the VIX continuing to implode? Well, I think that all stems from this. I think it all stems from the SPY. And what I always have been trying to point out this year, more than anything, we talked about this dragon pattern, and it's pretty obvious that it looks like it's going to execute. And I'm probably going to do a whole video just on that pattern. Anyway, what I'm getting at is all these dates here, let's clean all this off. All these dates that we're seeing on here, and this is a really important concept for people to get. I've done a post on Twitter about this, and I've been posting some stuff, and that's why I'm suggesting to subscribe, because I'm going to post more of these kinds of things on the community tab in this room, and you're only going to see that if you're subscribed. But see this move, okay? This move, this was GDP, all right? So all these points, these are all economic data points. That's all these are. And why am I showing you this? Because this was the day of CPI, and we rallied. And it was a bad CPI report, and that's why we gapped down. And we all thought we were going to fall off a cliff. But somebody dug in, or somebody or several people dug into that CPI report, and they saw something they wanted, and they saw something that they liked, and they bought. And since then, they've never been down. Then we had CPI again, and now look at what we're doing since then. We've consolidated for about 7 to 10 days, and now we're setting up to break out again. This is exactly the kind of behavior that you want to see. And the reason I'm bringing this up is whatever they saw there, we know what we saw here. This is all coming from the Fed, and that's an important distinction. So at 2 o'clock today, the Fed releases minutes. The Fed minutes are actually their talking points about this is what we see going on, this is our game plan. The most important part of that was this: in determining the pace of future increases in the target range, the committee will take into account the cumulative tightening of monetary policy, the lags which monetary policy affects economic activity and inflation. What that means in English is that we are aware that we raised rates at an unprecedented pace, and we do not know what type of effect that's going to have on the market. So essentially, we may slow down to see what kind of effect this has, because we are aware that there is a lag. Now, this is the point that I'm getting at. Somebody had a reading here and did their homework. We knew this, right? And we did well there. But understanding the macro and understanding the fundamental analysis and understanding the, quote, shift and pivot that we're seeing is why the VIX is absolutely imploding right now, with people taking their risk off. It's the exact reason why you're seeing people buy the 10-year bond. As yield drops, people are buying the 10-year bond. Okay? It's the exact reason why this is flipping, right? This is a 55 SMA. There's a reason why we're flipping this for the first time since we cracked it back here. Okay? So there's a reason for this. And that reason is we are probably at a point now where it's a tipping point where they've done enough damage, and now they're going to let it play out, and we're going to see less and less hikes. That's all I have. Everybody, enjoy your day off tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving. And as always, there is a link right here in the top right if you are interested in joining the trading community. It is currently on waitlist. Simply put your name in there and you will be notified when your slot opens up. Have a great night, everyone.